Most jobs are pretty dull and boring, but not these jobs. From fiery workplace environments to jobs that look like they're straight out of action movies. Here are the most dangerous jobs in the world for 2021. Oil riggers. Working on an oil rig under normal circumstances is bad enough. You're away from your family in the middle of the sea. All you smell is oil, and you normally work 16-hour shift. Though the Mexican oil company Pemex had a gigantic gas leak from an underwater pipeline on their oil rig. This captured a blaze underwater, and the ocean literally caught fire. The fire raged for more than 5 hours. This video looks dramatic, but it's fairly routine if you work on an oil rig. For every 100,000 oil rig workers, 27 pass away annually. Also yesterday, there was a major explosion at the Umid gas field in Azerbaijan. The oil rig owned by the state oil company is in the Caspian Sea. It's believed the explosion was caused by an underwater mud volcano. War reporter. In many countries, being a journalist can be a cushy job. You work in an office and write articles about what ice cream a celebrity ate today. But that is not the case around the world. For journalists covering war, it's literally a matter of life and death. Journalists from around the world have had their lives taken, been injured or kidnapped since going into many war zones. Most recently, this includes areas like Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria. Every year, around 70 journalists pass away. Most recently, media buildings were blown up in Gaza. This was caught in one very dramatic video. A journalist named Yuma Al-Sayed was doing a live report for Al Jazeera. That's when the neighboring building was hit by an Israeli airstrike. Despite the explosions, the journalist continued reporting. But really, she is lucky to be alive. A similar thing happened back in 2012 to CNN correspondent Anderson Cooper. He was doing a report from Gaza City when suddenly an explosion happened right behind him. Online users calculated that the explosion happened around 300 meters away from Anderson Cooper. Armored truck driver. Being an armored truck driver is like driving around with a target on your back. Armored trucks are used to transport valuables around. This is normally large quantities of money for banks or retail companies, or in some cases gold. The trucks are specially designed to be bullet resistant and have armor plating. They are designed to resist robberies and hijackings, and can withstand extreme degrees of heat, explosives, and collisions. But unless you're an incredibly skilled driver, you won't make it in this job for long. Armored truck drivers are trained in offensive and defensive driving maneuvers. Just how dangerous this job really is was captured on tape in South Africa last month. This dashcam footage shows the driver of an armored truck during an attempted hijacking in South Africa. They were driving along a highway as normal when all of a sudden shots were fired. They quickly grabbed defenses themselves in case things get messy. The older man driving seems very determined, but the younger man, who may be new to the job, seems absolutely terrified, and rightly so. They dodge more hijackers and eventually make it off the highway. While the younger man calls for police and reinforcement, they drive off-road, and thankfully get away. If you're wondering why the driver was so calm, that's because he is a former police sniper. His name is Leo Prinznu, and he's experienced this many times before. Images of their car after they'd got away showed the immense damage it took. But thankfully the bulletproof glass did not break, and it saved both of their lives. Many people are unaware this job even exists, but being a snake milker involves getting the venom out of snakes. This is a very important job that saves numerous lives per year. Of course, they try and be as safe as possible, but they are dealing with very venomous snakes. They are risking their lives every day. They're also saving many other people's lives. Logger. If you hear someone yell timber in the forest, run. That's because it's likely a logger. The logging industry is a very dangerous field to work in. It has some of the highest work-related fatalities in the world. Loggers are 30 times more likely to pass away on the job than any other worker. These mainly happen from two sources: either equipment failures injuring loggers, or trees falling on top of the loggers. Microchip manufacturers. Today, microchips are needed in pretty much any piece of technology. All computers and phones need microchips, and these chips are made with very hazardous chemicals such as arsenic. Not all factories in every country adhere to good safety standards, and this means the workers are constantly being exposed to very dangerous chemicals. These chemicals will not take your life instantly, but instead there are very serious long-term effects. Even factories with good safety standards have high rates of people passing away. Underwater welder. Being a welder is a dangerous job in and of itself, but underwater welders have one of the most dangerous jobs on the planet. Every day they face many dangers. This includes electric shocks, explosions, decompression sickness, and even wear and tear on their dental fillings. Out of every 100 welder on the job, 15 pass away annually. Bush pilots. Bush pilots fly in very tough terrain where there is no prepared landing strips or runways. They are paid much less than normal commercial pilots, and they have a lot more risks on the job. For every 100,000 flight hours, there's nearly 14 accidents. The crash rate for pilots in Alaska is 2 times higher than in the rest of the USA, and their small Cessna planes are far less protected than a large commercial aircraft. This means if there is an accident, bush pilots have a very low chance of survival. Steelworkers. Steelworkers work incredibly high up. They used to do this with no harnesses, but now in most Western countries they do use harnesses. However, they can still fall from great heights. Sometimes equipment failures and steel beams or walls collapsing can also cause workers to lose their lives. For every 100,000 steel workers, 56 pass away per year. Crab fishermen. Being a crab fisherman is 26 times more dangerous than the average job. Every year, around 126 pass away on the job. This mainly happens because of hypothermia, or workers falling overboard and drowning. Sometimes they're also injured by the very heavy machinery and gear. But now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below which of these jobs you would find the most scary to do.